Did Suchomimus and Spinosaurus live similar lives? Did they employ similar hunting strategies? Hey everyone, Mike here with Prehistoric Magazine. Now, before we even get into this video, I definitely appreciate you if you're watching this. I really could use you subscribing to this channel. If you've clicked on it and you are subscribed, thank you very much. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribing is huge. I've been really trying this year to get out more content. My goal for 2025 is to potentially get out 2 very thought-provoking videos in 2025. So in order to do that, I really need to know that people want to watch this type of content. I really need you to hit that subscribe button. Every video I'm always pounding, leave a comment. Don't even really care about the likes, but leave a comment. Want to hear your thoughts. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on this at the end of the video. But if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, subscribing to the channel would help out tremendously. Now, to the topic of this video, this has been something I've thought about for years now. And as Spinosaurus has gone through this transition where we don't really know what the animal was, I think I'm not alone in saying that I'm extremely confused what Spinosaurus was, how it stood, just its overall appearance. Very confusing animal. Now, Suchomimus, I've known of the animal, or is it Suchomimus? I've heard it pronounced differently. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to call it Suchomimus, but I've known of this animal since the late 90s, since probably about 1999 is when I first became aware of it in high school. It was discovered by Paul Sereno in Niger. And to me, it was just a fascinating animal because when I was back in high school, I was fascinated by Spinosaurus. This was another animal that wasn't necessarily Spinosaurus, but kind of had that same feel to it. Long crocodile-like snout, big thumb claws, so it felt like another Spinosaurus. Now, the topic of this video, and as always, I'll be looking for your comments at the end, are, do we think that Suchomimus and Spinosaurus lived similar lives? Now, right off the bat, in preparation for this video, Suchomimus appears to have longer legs than Spinosaurus. So in asking around and starting to get some feelers for this video, I think some people do believe that maybe Suchomimus may have been more adept on land at hunting land-based prey, had those longer legs. Now, that's not to say that Spinosaurus was helpless. I do not think Spinosaurus was a helpless animal on land. Any animal that maybe weighed 7 or 8 tons on land was something that you wanted to steer clear of, was a menace and something that could be a true monster in its environment. But it does look like Suchomimus may have been a little bit lighter, maybe 5 tons in weight. Again, who knows? We don't have many remains from these animals, so who's to say that we don't find a 7 or 8 ton Suchomimus one day? Maybe. It's possible. We can't represent the entire species, but for right now, it looks like maybe the animal might have weighed in at 5 tons. That's 10,000 pounds. That's as big as a small elephant. Just let that sink in. 10,000 pound animal. Now, we do think that Suchomimus was eating fish, hunting fish, similar to Spinosaurus. I guess I'm just wondering on this video here, we can all come together as a community in the comments section, how different of a life do we think it was leading? Now, again, the legs were longer. So to me, that points to the fact that maybe it hunted more terrestrial prey. And we know that baryonyx may have fed on iguanodons. Baryonyx was a smaller version of Suchomimus, but may have been living a similar life. So again, Suchomimus appears to be a bulked up version of baryonyx. Now, a few of the similarities between Suchomimus and Spinosaurus are the fact that they both have giant claws. They both have giant thumb claws that would be used for tearing and slashing at fish and just overall fishing from those rivers with those claws. I can really envision massive fishing hooks, in those prehistoric rivers of North Africa. Now, Spinosaurus has a sail atop its back. It's tremendously unique as far as theropod dinosaurs go. Suchomimus has more of a ridge, almost kind of like Acrocanthosaurus atop its back. Acrocanthosaurus has a small ridge atop its back as well, and Suchomimus appears to have that ridge too. So again, which makes Suchomimus unique in theropod design. But obviously the sail atop Spinosaurus's back is much bigger. If we saw Spinosaurus and next to Suchomimus, I believe in real life we'd be able to tell relative certainty that that was Spinosaurus based on that enormous sail. So again, but to the topic of the video, again, I'm really hoping hit that subscribe button if you can. Sorry for harping so much on that, but it helps the channel out tremendously. And as always, I'm really curious to hear if you think Suchomimus was living a similar life to Spinosaurus. You know, the way I see it is that Spinosaurus was a monster in the mangroves. You know, it would have made its living in these mangroves, hunting. The way I like to look at it is Spinosaurus made 80% of its living fishing. Now, was it fishing in the shallows or was it potentially swimming? If I had to peg a guess, I'm going to say fishing in the shallows, okay? An enormous heron, an enormous wading bird, the biggest enormous wading bird that's ever existed, a 50 foot long plus wading bird, potentially 7 tons in weight, with an enormous giant 6 foot sail atop its back. So I'm picturing that it makes its living fishing from the shores of the river, of the mangroves, and 20% of the rest of its diet may have been scavenging or bullying others, you know, taking over a kill that was already on land. Someone else did the work. So that's kind of my interpretation of Spinosaurus. Now, Suchomimus, I believe it was hunting fish too. It's got that long, 4 foot long crocodile-like skull. Again, 4 feet. It's an enormous skull. It's not a robust skull. Obviously, it's built quite different than, you know, it's a completely different animal than Giganotosaurus or Carcharodontosaurus, but 4 foot long skull, nothing to bat an eye at. And, you know, it would have been fishing, no doubt. I believe this animal, no doubt, would have been fishing. But I just think it may have made more of its living on land than Spinosaurus. It may have been more capable on land, had longer legs, wasn't burdened by such a great mass. Again, 5 tons is a big mass, but 5 tons isn't 7 or 8 tons. So 10,000 pound animal, potentially fishing when it wanted to, you know, and, you know, this is a great topic for a future video, Suchomimus and the potential encounters that it may have had with Sarcosuchus, the super croc. Again, these were fascinating finds back in the late 90s that really got me into paleontology, really got me into dinosaurs, really got me into envisioning these worlds of the past. And shout out to Paul Sereno at University of Chicago. He was definitely my dinosaur hero as a kid. I wanted to be Paul Sereno. Obviously, I did not turn out to be Paul Sereno, just a guy filming green screen videos. But nonetheless, those are some real finds. And watching those videos on VHS tape, those National Geographic Explorers in the Sand, are great memories from high school. But again, that's a topic for a future video, Suchomimus and the encounters that it maybe had with the giant predator, Sarcosuchus. But I'm laying it out there that I think Suchomimus hunted more on land than Spinosaurus. Now, how much more is anyone's guess? Again, I'm using the 80-20 rule for Spinosaurus. 80% of the time, fishing from the shallows, wading out, you know, making its living that way. The other 20% of the time, who knows? Maybe it was taking down some prey. You know, if times called for it, a predator will take down prey if times call for that. Certainly, if there's a meal there, and let's say there's 2 Carcharodontosaurs and they're feeding on something, maybe they're juveniles, maybe there's 3 or 4 juveniles. Don't you think a big Spinosaur could just lumber and bull its way through? Big swipe from the tail, just the intimidation of how big it was. Remember, that sail would have made it seem even bigger than it actually was. Okay, that sail would have made it seem about 6 feet bigger than it actually was. So, intimidating animals on land, taking over kills, and again, 80-20. Now, for Suchomimus, again, hard to say. These are all educated guesses, and we cannot prove or disprove them. That's why the comment section down there is so vital. But I'm going to say that Suchomimus was maybe making 60% of its living fishing and maybe 40% of its living on land. So 60-40. Again, because of those long legs. And again, it wasn't burdened by such great bulk. So that's where I stand on it. Love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments section down below. Again, if you are subscribed to this channel and you're supporting each video, definitely appreciate all of you. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments section down below. Take care.